Hello, Oracles! Well, Tesla is looking for a huge September, especially coming out of Shanghai. We just got official word from the Chinese Tesla website that lead times have been dropped down significantly. Now, before we jump into that, I had a couple of questions in the comments that people had asked about my video last night with analysts. So one of the questions was, the price targets that the analysts put out are a 12-month rolling price target, not an end-of-the-year price target. So I wanted to clarify that. And then there was another question about overweight and underweight ratings. So the basics behind that are equal weight for a company. Let's say it's 7% that they have in their portfolio. So they equate 7%. They say, in my portfolio, Tesla is going to be worth 7% of our portfolio. Underweight would be, let's say, 5%. Overweight would be 10%. Those are just rough numbers, but that's the basics of how it works. So if you have an overweight rating, that means that they're going to allot 10% of their portfolio for that company. If it's underweight, 5%. If it's equal weight, 7%. Again, rough numbers, but that's generally how it works. All right, so let's jump into the lead times that we are seeing over in Shanghai right now. So we've got the reports over there that the Model Y long range was 16 to 20 weeks. It is now 10 to 14 weeks. We've got the Model Y Performance, which was 12 to 16 weeks. It is now 6 to 10 weeks. We've got the Model 3 long range, which was 12 to 16 weeks. It is now 6 to 10 weeks. And we've got the Model 3 Performance, which was also 12 to 16 weeks, and it is now 6 to 10 weeks. So we've been discussing this before about how the lead time is coming down. We're in September right now. This is where Tesla in Shanghai focuses more on domestic deliveries than they do on exports. So it's natural to see these lead times come down. And then in October, as Rob Maurer and James Stevenson said, we are going to see those lead times most likely go back up again as they focus more on exports. Berlin is not to the place right now with their production where they can make up for those exports yet. We will see that in the future, so we'll see a smoothing out of these numbers in the future, probably sometime around this time next year is my guess. But in the meantime, we are going to see a heavily front-loaded quarter when it comes to exports, and then the second half of the quarter will be more domestic deliveries. That's just what we're seeing right now. We are already seeing Gordon Johnson and other bears in Tesla Q over on Twitter talking about how Tesla has a demand problem because look at all their lead times coming down. This happens every single quarter. They always come out and say this, and then sure enough, they go into the next quarter and the lead times go back up again. This is just natural and normal swing of things. So if you guys see any of this Tesla Q and FUD coming out about demand issues, that is truly the case that is going on. Tesla is just focusing more on domestic deliveries. And don't forget, even in the article that I was reading here, I've got the whole entire article posted in the description. It was actually a very good article. A lot of times we see the questioning of demand, but they were actually citing the fact that Tesla has boosted up production based on the fact that the Model Y line has been upgraded in July. The Model 3 line was upgraded in August. Their production is a lot higher right now, which means that they can then keep on top of the demand, which is a good thing because now they're selling more vehicles faster. Don't forget, like the other day, we had spoken about how Troy Teslike had mentioned that Tesla is looking for a 6 to 7 week lead time at the most. That's about a 42-day lead time because that leads to a better customer experience, and then Tesla can stay on top of their inventory a lot better. It's easier to get that flow down when you've got, a shorter lead time than if you've got 6 to 9 months, and then you're like, all right, over those 6 to 9 months, are people going to cancel because they don't want to wait anymore? A lot of things can happen in a long lead time, but if you've got 6 weeks, most people are willing to wait 6 weeks. It's not a big deal. And so in Shanghai, we are seeing the early end of all of these lead times is that 6-week mark. So Tesla is getting very close to these numbers. Again, we'll pay attention in October to see if these numbers jump up and how much they jump up by, because essentially they like to get down to, that 6-week lead time. Now, don't forget, as we go into 2023, the EV tax credit does not apply to the Shanghai vehicles. So they're not going to have the same demand push that we are going to see here over in North America. So it's going to be a slightly different dichotomy that goes on. But again, Shanghai is the biggest market on the planet right now. So that there is going to have significant demand on top of what we already see in North America. So the North American demand with the EV tax credit may just push it a little closer to the demand that we see over in China. And this article also cited TrueCar's estimates of Tesla's growth in the US for the month of August at 105% year over year. GM came in closest with 41%, and then Mercedes-Benz came in next with 40%. So awesome year-over-year growth for Tesla in the US, and now they're looking at market share of 4.1% overall and 4.4% in retail. And again, we've talked about it on here before where there's a lot of people who look at, EV market share. The way I'm looking at it is I'm looking long term. Down the road, there is not going to be EVs and ICE. It is just going to be EVs. There's just going to be the automotive market full of EVs. So Tesla coming in, I take ICE right out because ICE is not going to exist over the next 10 years. Very minimal, it'll be around, but it's going to be so minimal, you're not even going to notice it. So I'm looking at full, actual, true market share that they are going on in the automotive market. So that is what I'm looking at. So when people are like, oh yeah, the EV market share is coming down, well, that's cool. What is their overall automotive market share? That's what I'm looking at. I'll dive into some of those numbers later as well as we get more information coming in, especially at the end of the quarter. But those are the numbers I pay attention to. Is Tesla growing their business in the automotive market, not in the EV market? Because as we've run numbers before, and I know Stephen Mark Ryan says it all the time, which is Tesla can be selling 100% of the market. And as soon as one other manufacturer comes out with one car, Tesla has lost market share. That's just how it works. That's how numbers work. But when you're looking at overall automotive market share, that is where Tesla is still growing, and that is where the EVs are taking. So I always take a look at automotive market share and then EV adoption rate, because that will show us how Tesla is growing with the EV adoption into the entire automotive market. And Sawyer Merritt was out early this morning tweeting that ANCAP has given Tesla a 98% safety rating. That is the highest safety score ever for that category. So this is awesome when people are talking about how unsafe Teslas are. Look, we've got a lot of different companies that are out there giving these tests and giving Tesla the highest safety score. This has been ongoing for years. So every time I hear somebody saying that Tesla isn't the safest vehicle that's out there, the numbers don't lie. These tests don't lie. So this is also one of the reasons I want to buy my son a Tesla, just because, hey, I want to keep my son safe when he's driving a vehicle. And now next topic, to switch gears just a little bit. Today is Apple's far out day. So they were going to be most likely unveiling their iPhone 14, Apple Watch, and a lot of other little devices that they have going on. And my question is, are they going to unveil an Apple car? There have been no talks about it from what I have seen. Let me know if you guys have seen any talks about maybe rumors that they're going to be unveiling it. But for me, I don't think that they will. But who knows? We'll see how today plays out. Let me know if you guys are going to be paying attention to it. I would love to, but I've got a job I have to go to, so I can't pay attention. But I'll definitely be paying attention to see if they unveil something of that, or at least kind of leak some information about an Apple car coming out. And let me know your thoughts on that, because I'm like, if Apple's going to unveil a car, when are they actually going to produce it? By the time it comes out, is it going to be 2025 or 2026? Can they actually compete in the market, or are they just looking for a little bit of a niche market and they'll kind of just be on the underlying piece of things? Maybe they're just going to be looking at doing some software for other manufacturers. Don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that, how you think it'll play out, and whether you think it's actually going to affect Tesla at all. Personally, I don't think it is, but maybe the markets will react a little bit about it just because it's Apple. And one quick macro note, Abhishek shared that today Canada is having its FOMC meeting. They are deciding between a 75 basis point hike or a 100 basis point hike. At least that is the consensus estimate that is going on there. Now, they did just see an actual positive GDP number, so for them to raise the rates a little bit higher and be more hawkish isn't as bad because they're not in a recession. Still not great GDP numbers, but maybe they lean that way. We are also going to be hearing from Jerome Powell on Thursday about the Jackson Hole Symposium and what they discussed there. So a little bit of underlying macro stuff that's going on, maybe a little of uncertainty over the next couple of days. So we'll pay attention to that and we'll check to see what goes on with the FOMC meeting over in Canada. And so overall, the markets this morning are a little bit green. Tesla is up about 0.1% at the time of this recording pre-market. I don't think we're going to see a lot of major movements. Again, we are still in that downward channel. I'm not too concerned. We kind of bounced off of 276 several times yesterday. So I'm still kind of looking at that ceiling that we've got there. On that downward channel, we've got the CPI and PPI coming out next week. Then we've got the FOMC meeting the week after that. I don't see a lot of macro environment news that's going to be pushing us up. We've even got murmurs and talks about World War III starting with Putin and North Korea. Lots of macro stuff that is still weighing us down. We've got this heavy macro blanket, and I don't think we're going to be able to break out of this even with positive Tesla news until the macro stuff is gone. Either way, eventually the macro stuff will be gone, or the macro stuff is going to be so bad that we're not going to even care about the stock market anymore. Either way, for me, anything from the macro that pulls us down just gives me a better buying opportunity. That's my opinion, not official financial advice, but you guys let me know in the comments below how you are accepting all of this macro news, what is going on, how you're feeling about that, and if you're continuing to add expecting a massive Q4 coming out for Tesla. And let me know how big you think September is going to be for Tesla. I'm already anticipating over 100,000 vehicles getting delivered in China alone, and then outside of that, I'm looking at probably 370 to 380,000 vehicles delivered for Q3. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat, that link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon, that link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.